did it perfect. Hold on, Kelly. Wait. Kelly, wait, Kelly. So, Kelly, tell me what you think. Just
Hello.
go. Take it away. What do you think? What do you
I think
think?
it's awesome. Uh, I mean, I think
um,
that we have a difficult podcast, and now that it's live, you're gonna see the difficulties that you don't get to see when we edit it together.
um, I had said, Kelly, listen, we'll start it, and then it's gonna play this element, this asset, and this one, and then we'll talk. And then this other stupid picture, which now I feel stupid. Hold on, let's put the photo up. There we go. Obviously, our audio listeners, they don't get to see it, but it's a really great collage of our favorite show. But it was only up for a nanosecond because I don't know how to control the damn controls, Kelly. Um, it's coming from somebody who's worked live radio. But you know what? It takes some time, Kelly. Kelly, leave me
It
alone,
does.
Kelly. Get off my back.
It is
Stop
what it
being
is.
mean.
It's I think that's just what kind of makes this show so fun for me, because every like in general, when you're skating through life, or whatever, there's always like shit gets thrown at you, but it seems like it all accumulates from whatever we missed on a day-to-day basis when we try to do the show. It just like all comes together. Like yesterday it was like 85 degrees here in Texas, and today it's snowing and like 30. Like what the
Mm.
like, I can't even deal. So if there's any glitches or my camera freezes or whatever, it's because everything's freezing over in Texas right now. So yeah, that's my life.
It's like I think two things happen with our show. Either we decide like we're either having a terrible week or coming off frustration and we have a bad attitude coming into the show. One of us or none of us or whatever. And then there's these other times where we get really excited where I was like, okay, we had a little bit of a break. If you notice, we did not do our show 1 week later like we were supposed to. It was Valentine's Day. It was last time we talked. And then um we have a great attitude, but then there's a glitch somewhere. So it's upsetting.
Right.
And I always say oh, and now a light just went off. Hello, electrical bill. Although this mood lighting is really nice.
Oh, nice.
But anyways, we don't do the show only for visual. Of course, we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and again, Apple Podcasts, which of course you know. And by you, I mean you who have failed to write us a positive review about this here show. And I got to start calling it out, Kelly. I got to stop listening. And I don't know who this is to specifically, Kelly, but stop
Hmm.
taking this shit and listening and not saying anything good. I know you can muster something up. Say Kelly's pretty at least. Jesus, they'll say nothing good, Kelly. Nothing.
Nothing?
Listen.
Is it bad?
Stream. No, it's not even that there's anything negative. It's that people, oh gosh, I could listen to the show. The difficult podcasters, Kelly and Ronnie, are so funny, but you cannot take the time to go write a review. Pieces of shit.
And maybe
Anyways, they're
that's
not really
why.
pieces of,
Oh, that's
which it does
hilarious.
kind of make me think there's so many shows that I watch and listen to, and I don't
Hmm.
necessarily take the time to also write
Well,
an Apple
see, and
Podcast
that's the thing.
review.
People don't understand like how important reviews are. It's
I wish they weren't though.
no, but for me, it's more like nobody likes to get criticized, right? Nobody ever. But I'd like to know people are
Okay.
listening. Like, tell me, do I say and the and whatever too much? Does it like annoy you? Do I say like so much? Tell me something.
But isn't that what your friends are for? Have your friends told you that? Oh my, have they been calling you out, huh?
Yes, because I say like all the time. Well, this is what's
I
funny.
don't
So
think so.
I grew up in
I think you're
I
so
grew up in
good.
Texas. I grew up in Texas, right? But I lived in California for 17 years that I got that little Valley Girl lingo that I didn't realize. So the more and more that I talk casually or just have normal conversations, I hear those Valley Girls straight out of the Valley Girl Nicolas Cage movie, and talk like that, and it's funny. It kind of annoys me to listen to it.
I mean, I don't know what's worse though, Kelly. A Federal accent or a Texas accent, and I'm coming for you. So
Oh my
you
gosh, if
try
you
and
could
tell
hear my
me. Hold
Texas
on, let's talk.
accent,
Sometimes.
can you hear
I
it come
mean,
out?
of course, I've known you from my experience of meeting you in 2003, and I know that you've lived in LA for years. And of course, I think we all pick up accents. Me growing up in California, spending a collective 7 years in New York, like things come in and out. But I gotta know what's worse, the Texas or the Valley? Like, I mean,
I don't know.
they're not.
Well,
I'm
I
kind of
think
not
I have
enjoying
a mix.
either of them.
I think I kind of have a mix of both because sometimes my little twang will come out when I'm talking, and you'll hear that those little twangies on the edges of my words. Like that'll start to
Well,
happen.
it fools me. Can I tell you that it fools me because it sounds so happy, and I'm like, is she happy all the time? And
Never,
that's when it first hit
absolutely
me.
not.
I was like, I don't think she's happy all the time, but the way it sounds really pleasant. And you know what I
Yeah,
think about
that little.
pleasant? I don't like it.
My first radio check air tapes are hilarious because it's so twangy. I can't believe I ever actually lost it in the first place. It was so thick.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress.
Well, that's not the only thing thick. Hey, moving on. I have one thing to talk shit about, and we'll start the show. This is Difficult People Season 3, Episode 2. I can't believe we're almost done.
I
Exciting,
know.
though, because at first we were like, oh, right, isn't it? So exciting.
So exciting.
At first, we had such a plan of what was the next route for us. And then that kind of, honestly, you guys will, you two listeners who don't write on Apple Podcasts, you will learn, you will learn quickly that we may be shifting some of the ideas, from what we first thought. We thought like, oh, we'll do this show and then we'll move on to doing this. And like, it's really crazy that we've been having such a good time with it, but also each of us, like Kelly's been, sort of air checking with friends and colleagues and listening to more podcasts. And I've been doing the same. And we're getting to this point where we're like, yo, we kind of have this little magical thing. Let's pivot a little bit. So it's going to be exciting. It's not saying we're ever going to miss or not miss Difficult People and the energy of Billy and Julie. It just means once 9 episodes are up, who knows where we'll go.
Possibilities are
that's
endless.
cool to me. That's cool to me. Starting the show in a second, recapping, and we'll be back next week. I this time I swear. But I got one gripe. Okay, so I'm if you're listening audibly, there's a photo. Yeah, there's a photo. It's not that heavy, it's not that deep, but I would like people to understand. I'm disappointed at the Best Buy return policy because I'm using another mic, which is an outstanding mic. It's the Blue Yeti, which I'm using at this moment. I do enjoy it. Like it's great, but I really love my Shure MV7. And Kelly, maybe I'm wrong. You always get me together. Maybe I'm actually wrong. I'm mad at Best Buy's return policy.
How
I
so?
like the Shure MV7. Well, for one, did you know they will only take something back within 15 days?
I did. Did you know that I worked at Best Buy
How
for
did
like
you know
4
that?
weeks? When I was living in
4
LA
weeks
and I needed some extra money and I was just starting to be a publicist, I had a part-time job at Best Buy in the Valley.
You chose to work at Best Buy over waiting tables. Oh my, I didn't know it could
did.
get that
Well,
low.
because I waited tables in Texas and I made a deal with myself that I would never wait tables in California. Like I needed something, whatever. So I worked there just for Christmas and that was it. So I had enough money to go home for Christmas.
Then you're probably going to say my gripe is bullshit.
So I do know that. I do think that's bullshit. 15 days is like not enough, but.
Yeah. So when I bought the mic, because there's so many different ways you could buy any bit of equipment. We have been doing this podcast, and I have Randomly with Ronnie Jr. and Difficult Podcasters is here, and Pop Culture POV and Patreon. So I have I actually have technically 4 microphones, technically 5, but the Sennheiser isn't really for web streaming, so to speak. You know, it's kind of the old school, like when we worked in radio actually years ago. Really good Sennheiser. But my point is, Kelly, I am stupid then, I suppose, because I chose to get the microphone because I said, oh my gosh, if anything were to happen with the microphone, I could take it back to Best Buy because that's like the retailer. So when I go to buy it, it's a fantastic mic. I just got to be clear with you. The Shure MV7 I do like I'm rave reviews. Speaking of reviews, they're all good. But there was one little glitch with the cord because two types of cords. There's an XLR and then there's the mini USB, I think it is. Well, it was a little glitch situation. Ronnie's got a heavy hand and trying to finagle with it. It you know, kind of maneuvered it and does not work in that capacity. So I simply wanted to kind of like take it back. And I remember when I purchased it, and again, I might be wrong, but I'm never wrong. So there goes that. Never. I remember purchasing it and saying, well, I'm buying it here, you guys, Best Buy, because that way, if there's any problem with this $269 mic, I could bring it back to you. And the clerk goes, do you want the warranty? And I says, oh, your warranties are a little funny, but like, what you got? Like, sell it to me. Not even in a mean way. But then they say this, oh, don't worry. If you don't want to get this 3-year warranty, within a year, it's still covered. Factory warranty. A factory warranty? Tell me about that. Oh, well, you know, just bring it on back to Best Buy. So I have been misled that if anything were to happen, sans, you know, getting the mic and throwing it on the ground, which did not happen. It's a fabulous mic. I wouldn't be this mad about it because I'm going to get another one. It's that good of a microphone. But I just feel like you can't have the clerk wash it off and get mad. They might have got mad. They might have said, well, if you're not going to buy the warranty, because obviously if I buy the warranty, that's a bonus or something like that for the clerk. You know, I worked in banking. That's how it worked. So then when I didn't buy the 3-year bonus incentive type situation, the clerk washed it off, was like, oh yeah, it's fine. I specifically asked those questions so I wouldn't be in this bind because, as you know, and this is not to talk shit, we are starting this podcast from the ground up.
Right.
Money is not as plentiful as it should be, specifically because you dummies don't write on our Apple Podcasts.
Well, no, but it's also, you know, a $200 on something, almost $300 purchase is nothing to scoff at, especially when you're, you know, you have multiple podcasts, you have multiple, like, buying all the equipment that you need for all of this. It's not cheap, and that's only one element of all the things you need to be able to do this. I mean, so to be misled on something like that, that's the crappy part, right? Because you have to ask all the questions. Okay, well, what does the factory warranty cover? And does it cover, like, if the cord doesn't work, can I just come and exchange it out? Like, do all those things. And if you don't ask those questions, you end up like right here because you assume, and you don't realize that you need to ask those questions until you get to where you are, which sucks. And it's already too late. But they wouldn't exchange it?
They gave me the most insane runaround. I mean, they're nice enough to like give me an email, like as if I wanted to go up the ladder or whatever. Because, you know, Kelly, I'm a talker. And I wasn't even mad.
That's what works in that situation, to be honest, like with any issues I've had with different companies, is tweeting them. You would not believe like how fast I get my issues resolved when I tweet them. What the fuck?
Well, that was the next thing I was going to tell.
Like, seriously. Mm-hmm.
Kelly, that was the next thing I was going to tell you about good old Best Buy and this Shure MV7 that I love and want another one, and I will be having another one maybe in my next episode. But yeah, what I am mostly upset about, and I'm going to ask you a question, do you think, because again, I love the microphone. I didn't damage the microphone. Shit just happens. It's a technical thing. Like that's the same thing as saying my internet's down. Shit does happen. So you got an honest Ronnie walking in there. But what Kelly, I got to put Best Buy to task right now. I have to. I wonder if, sans the 15 days situation, if too many people abused what you just talked about. Because I think there was a time in the culture where you could tweet something, but it kind of has become like, everyone's like, oh, this flight fucking sucked and da-da-da-da. And then they're getting, a bump to first class or another flight. And it's become sort of hard probably for businesses. Although, come on, businesses, they damn near, they do what they do to you too. But the point is, I feel like I'm getting the wrath of somebody that would have broken item, misplaced an item, spilt soda on the item, and is just walking in like, I want my refund. And that didn't happen to me. This is an honest guy
Well,
talking.
they should honestly, they should have exchanged it. If it was just a cord issue, they should have just gave you another one and just taken it back.
I asked Best Buy. I said, I don't even want, like, I want to write rave reviews about Best Buy. I want to say that the Shure MV7 is great. All the good stuff. There was no give money back. There was no lying, cheating, or stealing, and that's what upsets me. But what I really wonder, Kelly, I really wonder, are too many people abusing that tweet style thing that you're talking about?
I don't know, because I just did it. Like, I just did it.
It worked for you?
Yeah, well, because
what happened?
So my disgruntled thing was, okay, we are on an AT&T family plan. Okay, we've had AT&T for years. So all of a sudden, my sister upgrades her phone to get a new. She had an upgrade available, so she gets a new phone. All of a sudden, we've got like 7 lines added to our account, and we're like, "What the fuck?" It was like some hotspot thing, but then there was somebody's name on a phone number, and I don't know what was going on. So we call them, we try to get it resolved. We're talking to like 25 people, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody can help us. I finally get to someone that removes that line we never added. And then she's telling me, okay, well, if this is somebody else's name, you should probably file a fraud report to make sure nobody's in your account. So I'm like, okay. So I go to do what I'm supposed to do to file the fraud claim. Well, because of COVID or whatever, they don't have anybody answering the phone. And there's an actual message that tells you, sorry, we're not answering this line, but go online and fill out this form. And they texted me, AT&T texted me the link that I'm supposed to go fill out this fraud form. And it's a broken link. It doesn't even work. So I can't call the fraud department because nobody answers. I can't fill out the form because the link doesn't work. And I'm on the phone with somebody in another part of the fraud department, and they're basically like, sorry, there's nothing I can do. And I was like, what do you mean there's nothing you can do? So somebody could be in my account adding a shit ton of phones, and there's nothing you can do as a fraud department? Are you fucking kidding me? And I told him, I said, I do not accept that answer. I'm sorry, but I do not accept that answer. Somebody's not going to be charging all kinds of shit on my phone when I went from a $200 bill to a $600 bill. Are you serious right now? And they're like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. So I went on Twitter and I was like, AT&T, what the fuck? I can't file a fraud claim because your fraud department doesn't answer the phone. There's a message that tells me they don't. And you send me a link that doesn't work. Like, what the hell's going on? I got that shit resolved like the next day. Because that's like a serious thing. Like, somebody's in my shit. And I went through department after department after department. And I was genuinely like, you guys can't tell me to file a fraud claim. I have another person's name and phone number on my account. I don't know who this is. Everybody's defrauding everybody these days. And there's all kinds of internet fraud and all this shit. And you're telling me AT&T, one of the largest companies in the world, can't get a link to work, and you're not even going to go to like IT and try to fucking figure it out? Really? How does that even make sense?
Perhaps it was an old lover that took this information.
No. But tell me that's not crazy. AT&T is telling me their IT department doesn't work?
It's getting right. It's getting this picture that you're painting to me across the board. My gripe with Best Buy, and now the gripe with this company, it's like they're very good at charging. They're very good at adding. They're not good at remedying.
Back. Yeah.
Yeah, like honest problems, you know. And again, it's like, are so many people doing it the wrong way and kind of cheating the system, so to speak. And so when you got like a real, actual, legitimate situation like you did, it's like no help at all. But I'm glad you tweeted it and it did work. I did Instagram it like hello, Shure MV7. I love it. You know, I love the product, but you know, just got it at Best Buy like in October. You know, like, you know, towards the verbiage, you know, anything sans, you know, damage, because there's no damage. Literally, if you look at the port, it's not even the proper port. That's not the port that should be there. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not really a good port. What it should be is a USB-C. Anyone will tell you.
Right.
The beauty of that microphone is there's an XLR if you have an audio interface, or the more plug and play style, but it should never be a core that sort of needs to be finagled with, because when you finagle with it, you could short the, I guess that would be a terminology.
Yeah.
Point being, I get so mad at Best Buy and I get mad at what happened to you because too many people have probably bullshitted, and that's who has been sufficed. But listen,
and that's like, I've had that happen to me like a few times. I mean, I got like my car broken into at LA Fitness. I had to tweet them because like in LA, like the location knew that people were breaking into people's cars in the parking lot, but they didn't tell their patrons. Because it was like a ring of robberies from the valet company that would valet the cars. And it was like a whole thing, and LA Fitness knew it and didn't tell anybody. And I had a whole thing with them, and I was like, you can't do that to your paying customers. Like, what the hell? Like, it's just such bad customer service these days. That's what it boils down to. It's just like everything at the end of the day is just bad customer service. And all I really want is my shit to work because I'm paying for it. So let's fix it.
Your issue, yes, get remedied, but like, it's bad customer service, but then it's bad customers, and so many bad customers and sort of abusing the situations is why certain situations are getting the shit end of the stick. Is really what I feel. I could be a mean person, or like I went in so freaking sweet, Kelly. I was like, y'all, look at my face. I mean, I couldn't be more sincere. Kelly, I had to hit with the, well, let me tell you, how did you do when the pandemic hit? Did you lose your job? Like I did. I had to pull the heartstrings.
And I was like, I understand it's, there's a lot less people working, every company suffered in some way, shape, or form, but that shouldn't diminish the quality of service that you get. And it's like, okay, if somebody can't help you, okay, fine. But then it's like, is there anything you can do? Can we switch out the cord? Can we do anything? Is there a manufacturer number I can call to try to get? Because this is clearly not the right thing on this device. So am I just like SOL? Is that really all that there is?
You're smart. Why wasn't an option like, well, you like the mic, you only want to get another one. Hey, excuse me, sir, we can't get you another one, but we could send it to a technician, get it fixed, and at a low cost or something.
Maybe we give you 20% off to fix it, like something, right?
I'm gonna stick to this specifically to Best Buy. Screw you, because I didn't have to purchase it there. I could have purchased it on Amazon, but I'm a person who likes actual like customer. I don't. You know how people get really excited? They're like, oh, I'll just Amazon everything during Christmas. I go to the mall. I'm one of the only people. I like doing things, and that's what I told them too. I says I got this on Amazon, and they would have helped. I could have got it through Shure, and they would have helped. Now, granted, I will say the best thing about Best Buy is they did give a route. They were like, go through Shure, SHURE, which is the fantastic microphone. But I gotta say the instructions. I don't know my algebra, so I'm like, I can't. It's too much for me. But that's not even the point. The point is that Best Buy, you were able to take my money, but you ain't able to help my issue. So Best Buy, I'm not gonna say you're terrible. You deal with a lot of shitty customers, so I'm going to understand that. But Best Buy, you're getting a slap on the wrist from this nice, hardworking, over 40-year-old podcaster. Okay.
Well, enough is enough. I just like the social media manager for AT&T totally took care of me, and I appreciate that, and got my issues to the right people and all that. It was wherever I was getting routed to on the phone that I just kept going in circles for like 3 days. And it was like, how do I upgrade a phone on like January 6th? And then on the 22nd, you're charging me for 7 other lines. Like, what's happening? It shouldn't take that long. It shouldn't take that long. So like, figure this out. But how are you going to have a fraud department that doesn't work?
Kelly, I think the new direction of our show is to start complaining about everything. Somebody told me in the recent time here, they were like, oh, what's a complaint actually do? It says it does everything. It does. Well, what good is it? What good is it to complain? What?
I mean, this episode is full of complaints, okay?
Yes,
This
let's
episode
reshift.
of
We're done
difficult
with Best
people that we
Buy.
need to get back to.
Best Buy, get your shit together. But yes, Kelly, let's before we do that though, Kelly, I got to tell you, we're going to talk about difficult people in a second here, and I'm loving that we're doing a new version of our show. We're about to transition into like another chapter of our show, but I wanted to tell you now. I don't know. Keep talking. I hope your microphone don't get muted. I wanted to tell you,
Yeah.
hello, that
yes.
Viridian Row never goes out of style to creativity. Please go to viridianrow.com. And if you go there, much like patreon.com/randomlyRJ Jr., there's so much good artsy stuff. It is not just the quote t-shirts. I mean, it's just so beautiful. Oh, did you have a comment about it as well? I mean, is it?
Oh,
Did
you
you
guys
have
see
something you
my
wanted to add?
cute little green earrings? I've got some, they've got
Oh,
earrings.
hold on.
They've got
One
cool
second. Let me
stuff.
let me describe those things. Oh, look at you.
Ooh, my little pop of color today.
I would never say this term. I mean, I would never like use this, but wash out. She looks good. She looks good.
And I like hardly ever
And
wear
we
earrings,
just
but I thought these were so cute. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love a big earring. Yeah, no, that looks good. ViridianRow.com. Follow them on Instagram and Twitter and all the things. And it's a small business, and it's great to support them because guess what? Guess what? They support difficult podcasters and are one of the reasons that show works. Now, is our show always lit well? No. Is our show with good microphones? No. Is our show even funny? Apparently not, says Apple Podcast. But it's still fun for us. It's still fun for us.
That's all
so
that
this
matters
is
at the
Julie
end of the
and Billy. Say it again.
I said that's all that matters at the end of the day, right?
Yes. We're the laughing stock of Julie Klausner. She's like, oh, these dummies. But no, we want to get through it. Like we like the show a ton, but there's just a moment where you just want to get through it. We're done with it. We're talking about it for a while. So this is exciting. Season 3, episode 2. I start conflicted, Kelly, because I grew up in such a union type of environment. Blue collar unions meant everything.
Right.
So I don't know how you feel about it, but like it felt like I know these people are horrible. We know that Billy Epstein and Julie Kessler aren't good, but it's line. You don't cross that damn picket line. I was upset, Kelly. How'd you take it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see too much picketing, and there weren't really very many unions in my life growing up. I didn't really see the impact of that until I was in Los Angeles with like the transportation strikes and the writers strikes and all of that were happening throughout the city over the past so many years. But I do feel like that is something that you shouldn't do, because at the end of the day, when you cross that picket line, you're basically saying that one of the things was wages for servers. So you cross the picket line to go to the restaurant, you're saying that these people don't deserve what they're asking for, which is just a livable wage, right? At the end of the day. And so that's kind of shitty. So you have to kind of take a look at yourself and realize what the conversation is and what people are upset about. So everyone can have a chance to, to get what they need. And at the end of the day, we just want everyone to be taken care of, especially when you're working so hard in a thankless industry like servers do.
I was always amazed on how many people who were not around it so much just really shunned it for so many reasons. Now, I know a lot of folks that went to really smart colleges, they had other reasons, and I'm always for whatever's on the other side. I at least am going to listen and hear your perspective. But what really got me was the ones that hated on the union aspect, where I'm like, ooh, you should take a look at your life, because a union would benefit you, and just in general, or not even like a union in general, but like the mentality of having solidarity for the worker would help you. I mean, there are plenty of people who, scholastic types that they can flourish. But I've literally, and I won't even name names because we worked at the same radio station. There's some dusty people that we worked with, Kelly. Not all of them, of course, but I'm talking about like 3. And I remember you and I, we were like 23, 24 years old, and there was the grocery store strike. And yeah, it's not the biggest
Oh,
of deals if it
I
doesn't cross
forgot
your
about
path, whatever. But I remember walking in saying, hey, radio colleagues, like, oh God, oh damn, solidarity for the worker. You're like, that's we don't at the level we were at, there was no real like radio union, you know what I'm saying?
that.
But at the
Right.
same time, like, don't you always, I think this was the thing I asked them. I said, don't you always want an opportunity for somebody to not undercut you? Like, is like, and that was the only way I phrased it, very simply. I'm like, and again, there's always somebody smarter than me that could like word it differently, and I'm totally up for listening. But at the sheer end of it is, if I walk into that radio station and I built my cachet and I've got paid this for this type of worker that I am, sure, the radio station has a prerogative to not bring me back. But what I gotta tell you is, it's not a good standing if we're all undercutting each other. That's
Right.
that's how I feel to this day. Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
it
how I
makes
feel
you
to this
think you
day.
want to be associated with a place that does that, right? Because
Yeah.
what if,
Yeah.
when the tides turn and you need somebody to have your back, those are not going to be the people that do. And clearly, right? They ended up
It's kind of like
not
that
being.
level of, we've grown up our whole lives thinking you're never supposed to talk about wages with coworkers. And
Right.
then, like, what was it, like 6 years ago, it was like a big old, splashed all over the headlines. It's actually healthy to talk about the wages. That way you can get the best quality out of out of your employer. Not talking about wages just means everyone could be undercut and there's nothing being taken to task. And I understand being an employer is a very difficult thing, but I don't know. I just think there's got to be a little bit of humanity in it. But this is Billy, this is Julie, and these bitches,
They're
they
always
only
doing the
wanted to.
wrong thing and wonder why nothing good ever happens, which is something that they say in the episode, which I found very, like, at least they acknowledged it. We did the wrong thing again, and this is what happened.
I think that's what I
But
relate to them about them.
there's so many issues at play in this one episode, which was just chock full of, there was feminism, there was the gay
Stuff.
rights, and the
Mhm.
when that whole thing was happening with the religious conversions and the government trying to get involved in that, there were the wages strikes, there were so many things. So I feel like this is a
Yeah.
very important episode that focused on so many things that they were able to make light of. It was very interesting on how they did it, but it just makes you go back and think about that time in life, because this was a few years ago, on just how shitty so many things were, and taking a look at things today, like, are they that much better?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a new challenge because,
Totally.
like, things are always maneuvering, and that's kind of the beauty of where success could be had, and you go through your peaks and valleys. But I think, yeah, there was a through line of, like, what are we willing to do? Like, how low are we willing to sink? And then what was odd to me, because I didn't grow up with this mentality, but like it is kind of true too. Even though it's a bit, Julie, her thoughts are, how am I gonna make a change if I gotta make a change from the inside? And that's actually a true point too.
Right.
Julie never succeeding and being as dedicated as she's been. This is why we like these characters, because they actually are good characters, but sometimes they're shit out of luck. So to have that thing where it's like, "Ugh, I know I shouldn't be doing this. Um, However, if I'm ever going to make any type of change or do anything for my fellow, comedian or actress or whatever, the people that she came up with, she can't do anything being the the rapper. We could tell you that.
Or what does Andrea Mumford call her? She calls her the bloated Wendy's mascot.
and damn well she
How
deserves it.
horrible is that? Oh my god!
Well, how bad was it that
she said that, like, I about died.
how bad was it that Julie didn't remember that they met like 5 times?
She's like, if you say so.
She goes, but no, really, did we do boob stuff? Oh, and then it was funny that Marilyn tells Billy that she had a little college moment as
Yes,
well.
she
So
sure did.
Marilyn, the gift that keeps on giving, I tell you.
Always. And she's like, well, it was a few days before I realized. And then I was like, we're both here. But why not? Which
Let's
is
try
her
it out.
attitude
Yeah.
about things, which is one of the reasons why I love that character so much. Because she's like, whatever.
The toughest thing about, like, you just asked, and our show's never like a serious show with us. Me and Kelly. Oh, time out. How fun is this? Oh my gosh. Not only are Kelly and I great at this show, even if you don't want to admit it on our podcast, we also have many layers. So there might be a time where we talk about more serious topics. We just don't do that here, right? Our Patreon might be something to jump into, but we're multifaceted, and I could tell you we're multifaceted because why, Kelly? Because we stopped down for a moment and we did another series. Kelly, tell the people, tell both of them.
The series,
the show we did.
The movie thing?
About the movie.
Yes,
about the movie.
My best friend's wedding. Yes.
Good. I guess it wasn't memorable for her.
No, I love.
No, I was just saying, like, well, so me and Kelly stopped down to do another podcast on another series that I do, and we got some other people together, and we just like had a great moment talking about how great and how much it's gotten better even with time. My best friend's wedding. So I was just happy to say we're layered, that we give you a lot. We give you, if anyone were ever to come onto this show and say, damn it, Kelly's been grumpy for 12 weeks in a row.
But then you see me light up when I'm talking about Dermot Mulroney and Julia Roberts and their best friend love relationship.
Yeah.
And it's a whole
I'm trying
different
to say
thing.
there's, as we get done with our recap
we're
portion,
onions
there's
over here, right?
Places.
Peeling back all the layers.
Yeah, I mean, and we have to be, because I lied to many people. I can't lie to Kelly because I knew her in 2003 when she marched into that radio station with the shortest of hair.
Oh, that damn haircut.
And we thought she loved that hair. We said, oh God, that is a different type of gal. And so we didn't mess with her. So when you have been friends that long, there's no, you got to keep it funky. You got to keep it real.
Totally.
So yeah, we have variety in what we do. What else this episode? I of course think like what you just said, Kelly. Like, it's so terrible that you have to get to your Maryland situation and say, you gotta laugh, because if you don't, it's gonna be shitty. And I think that's why sometimes, like, I'll try to talk with people, and not even like meant to be somebody educating you or you educating somebody, but you'll just like mention things. You're like, and I won't even go into detail on what it is, but like, say the Florida new bill that's going around, very, very anti-LGBTQIA. And like a lot of people will sometimes jump in and say like, it doesn't mean much. And I'm like, a lot of these things mean much because there's been scenarios where, the conversion therapy, is very much a real thing. I remember doing a segment when I worked at American Latino TV. And of course, I've heard just by way of watching television and whatnot, people talk about conversion therapy. But right when I'm doing an interview on this reality star, he's giving me his story. And whatever we aired on the show was what we aired on the show. But to be in front of him for an hour and talk about some of these things, what had happened when he went to the Dominican Republic, going there in the regards of his mother wanting to fix his problem. It's so shitty. And when you get to hear it personally, firsthand, you're like, yeah, the way Billy made just shitty jokes, like, no, I just need the money. Like, I do, you have to laugh. You have to laugh.
I mean, yeah, there's some things that you can't take so personal, unfortunately. And, it frustrates me, and I don't go through it personally in the same way that you do, and people that are directly in the community. But in my mind, and I've always believed this, like, it shouldn't be a separate like people are people. Like this shouldn't be a thing. Like, why is this a thing? I don't understand. I've never understood like why people are so wrapped up in what other people are doing in their relationships and in their personal lives and at home. Like, who gives a shit? Like, focus on yourself and don't worry about it. The fact that this is a thing, I will never understand. I went to a church with family members of mine, and this conversion therapy shit like came up in the sermon, and it was like a whole video package and shit on it from the person that was gay that was going to this church camp to get fixed. And it blew my mind in such a way that I could not believe I was actually watching that, like, for real. Great, like, I didn't go back to that place, but it's just like, holy shit. Like, how is
it's out there. It's out there even like for you, like you grew up in Texas, you lived so much of your life in LA, and I've lived a lot of my life in New York or in Southern California to begin with. So like you're just like feeling like, no, people really don't feel this way. But yes, no, Mike Pence feels this way, which makes you wonder, why don't you like it that much?
Well, because
do you see something you like?
But it's also, who are you trying to convince? Yourself? Is it an internal struggle that you have to put out into everyone else?
It's gross. That's where it's real gross.
But like, that's the thing. Why is everyone so wrapped up in? And that's what when people go on these talk shows and they get into these deep conversations about this issue, I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually look to the person asking the question and being like, why do you care who's in my bed? How does that directly affect you? I don't know that I've ever watched an interview where somebody actually asked that question, because I want to hear the answer. You're so hell-bent on passing these laws and making these amendments and worrying about who's going into the bathroom and all this bullshit. How does it directly affect you if I put on a dress or pants or get rid of my boobs? How does that directly affect you? Please, somebody tell me.
I feel like we're getting too serious now. I'm going to be like...
I know, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
The funny parts of it, though... No. Please. This is what makes our show great. Even if you don't want to edit, podcast listeners.
But
I think the part that like
conversion therapy kit that they have, and it's like electric shock therapy, giving him like the Hangover 3 and a Cheech and Chong t-shirt and a trucker hat that says tacos. And it's like, these are the things that make, which is what was funny about it, because it's like, this is the societal things that make you straight, right?
Like I said, I got to interview, and he was such a great guy, Jonathan Fernandez. He's on a VH1 reality show, and he was telling me, right in person. It's different when you just hear it in person. Such a good guy too. And he's saying, yeah, no, they put these things on you, how they feel. And he was so descriptive. With it. So the whole thing is shit. So really, again, Marilyn, in one of the early episodes, you gotta laugh because it is just so funny. So I kind of like in my head, I feel like, have I ever said anything similar to that too? I'm like, and I have. I'll be like, well, oh God, you want to be straight and be boring. Like, sometimes I also will say, like, you'll hear the jokes like, oh, and wear cargo pants and be boring and watch the fucking Super Bowl, I suppose. You have to throw shit at it just because it's like, I mean, no one's policing your behavior. Why do you got to police somebody else's behavior? It's really simple, but we are not really a podcast that really gets into this shit.
No, I mean, there's so many places I could go with the whole normal person thing. Like, don't even get me started on that shit. Like, there are athletes and celebrities that get paid literally millions of dollars to not be normal. So you can't put normal in a fucking box. Like, it blows my mind. Like, all of that stuff. And the
on a lighter note, like the people who have, and I sometimes, not always, try to want to hear somebody's other side. It could be constructive or whatever, but then like sometimes you'll hear like, oh well, like let's say it's not a religious thing, because that's really a hard argument, but let's say it's just, I've heard sometimes like, oh well, it's the sanctity of a marriage and all this. I'm like, you watch The Bachelor, bitch. Like,
right, it's like, and how many times have you been married and divorced? How many kids do you have out of wedlock? How many, like,
all of it, Kelly, all of it. I mean, like, I can't even do it.
So let's move on.
But he wanted to do it because he wanted to make money. What did Marilyn? She wanted to get a placard or something like that.
She wanted the parking. But I love also that Marilyn was like, okay, there's too many volts in this electric thing. We're not really going to do this. She's like, I can't, like, not even I can stoop this low to actually do this. We're going to say we did it, but we're not doing it. And that
Yeah.
I think says a lot too, because sometimes she like straddles the lines of different things that she's for and against. And, she can be such judgmental, but then also not at all, which is what makes her character so complex and what I love so much about her.
I think I've said this before, but this is one of the episodes I would have wanted to even more so be in the writer's room to see like what was too much, what was maybe like better as jokes in the room, but like maybe should not be aired on Hulu. Because you're Billy, specifically Billy Eichner, the human, you're forced to like know so much about it, and maybe you didn't go through that, but you know that you're back to solidarity. Your gay brothers and sisters possibly have. And so like how do you keep that as a fun thing other than making fun of Mike Pence?
Sixpence none the gayer. Like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine like your song being like played on that way? Like,
oh my goodness. So wait, so Marilyn is shifty in the situation, but I mean, what a blessing that we get, because earlier on, a couple episodes ago, we learned that Matthew's like, is it Con Day already? I remember last year, a year ago, I put on my dungarees and I came to New York City where dreams are made of, So you're in your head, it's there, like, who is this woman that he was with 366 days ago?
I mean, and who better? Freaking Trish, Vanessa Williams, like the best, like pops in with her erotic balloon animal. I like when Nate was like, we all know this, stop balloon splaining and get to work.
Balloon splaining, yeah. The scene where she seduces him, because she had to have her Maddie. This show, you never know where it's gonna go, so you're almost kind of.
But what a twist on that! Then come to find out, she was trying to, convert him back as part of that whole initiative, and she decided against it at the end. But it just like such a very. I'm honestly surprised that Hulu let the show go as far as it did in all the ways that it usually does. But in this episode more so. I mean, because not only did they delve a little bit into that, but then you also have like the Woody Allen stuff, and that's still going on now, like right now.
Yeah,
and which is crazy, because like the whole
I
like
guess the
HBO
best way
documentary
that they
and like all that stuff, and I think they did it in such a light. They like
sarcastic, maybe
really like get yeah
like what they did, they didn't take it serious at all. Like they took the whole concept of it was a joke, like a laughing stock situation. Like,
but is that the wrong approach? Like that's what becomes interesting, right? Because it's like that, depending on which side you fall onto that, it starts a whole other conversation, because it's similar to like the Weinstein stuff and all this, right? All the things you think but you're still in the movies, you're still making money off of them, you're still working with the person. Like, is that, does it make Julie actually the bad person for taking the job based off of what the rumors are and what people know and like all of that, which was the same with like all the other things that have come to light in recent years. It's crazy.
That's always been a thing that I think a lot of people go through. If you take everybody to task, unfortunately, there's not going to be growth ever. I think
look at this collage.
It's weird. Thank you. Yes, we ViridianRoad.com has been stepping it up, so our production value has increased. Thank you very much.
Collage. I love it.
We may have a broken microphone due to Best Buy, but damn it, we're good. No, but the point is like, I'm not going to give like where it went, but I remember. Okay, well, let's do it differently. So apparently, people love the Super Bowl halftime performance. But a little bit of that had to come with what was it, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, that Jay-Z stepped in with a new position with the NFL. So the NFL obviously has been foolish on some really dark sides in regards to, Colin Kaepernick and just things, right?
Right.
The Miami Dolphins coach as well, just a lot of stuff. So then I can't even say that I didn't feel like, Jay-Z, why are you breaking bread with the NFL? But sometimes, and this is what Julie said, this is why Julie, I say it all the time, she isn't that bad, because she's basically like, but if I can do this, get in, sort out some cachet. She may not have said it. Yeah. Well, because I would venture to wonder that, because I too was like, whenever the announcement was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, Jay-Z has a new position with NFL Entertainment, and you're just like, you mean the place that made Colin Kaepernick go through all of that shit? You just kind of like, it just feels weird or odd. But then if there could be some positive changes on the inside, you do get, I don't think there's going to be a halftime show such as what we saw if, some powerful people got moved into positions to make that change. So it's damn it don't make me think, Kelly. I didn't come to this show to think.
But that's the greatest thing about this. Is what I love so much about this show in particular, because difficult people, is like the show. Difficult podcasters, our show, weird, thought provoking, but no, difficult people is a very thought provoking show when you dissect it. It's funny and vapid and stuff in a lot of places, but when you get into the meat of what these writers have done, it's very thought-provoking, and it makes you think about all these things in a little bit more of a comedic way, so you get a different perspective on these big social issues, which that's what makes it so fun to watch when you dig into it.
I think it's because they just walk through them. They're giving tons of things. They're making errors along the way. And a lot of times there's redeeming qualities. Yeah.
I mean, they're that big giant balloon rat, their strike rat. The way that they were using that thing to jump lines and eat in restaurants they want to go to and clear the places was hilarious. And
see, like something.
It's taking advantage of a situation to your benefit and not really for the greater good of what it's supposed to be, right? It's like making a mockery of it.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't value that. However, and I mean, this show's one of a kind. But again, the dig. I think it was a dig. Well, it wasn't just a dig. Let's go to it a little bit. When she even gets the audition, it's making the joke about Amazon. It's like, I'm just gonna go take my Brita filter. like you're doing a casting with Amazon, and it is so weird. It's just like, at what point, anything could be a production or something like that. That is odd. But at Amazon, they took their shot again, Kelly, at Mozart in the Jungle, which I have said that I like that show. Are they taking a dig at Mozart in the Jungle? It's a show that's so good I could watch it again. What does that say about me? I gotta be right, Kelly. What do you think? It was such a fun show.
I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
Am I corny? Am I cheesy?
No, I'm like on the fence about whether it's a dig or not, because they bring focus to it, but like the casting director is like, oh no, that's a good quality show. That's a funny show, but so I don't know that it's necessarily a dig, as it is kind of like a shout out, maybe. I don't know. I gotta go back and rewatch those specific interactions about it.
Yeah, I'm protective over the show. Yeah, watch your joke, damn it.
My favorite dig though was the Trump building, saying this is the only building he really owns, and it was like a small little
in
warehouse.
Staten Island. Yes, because there was the ones along the West Side Highway that were licensed. Yeah. I mean, I don't get into that.
No, but I just thought that was.
I don't get into. And the way the show becomes entertaining for us is that they are just tons of stuff that is just raveling within you, and you just kind of just spout them out. Boom, 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 boom. You said the word a couple of times, zingers, but I don't think you used the word zinger, because I think you got mad. I don't know if you did. That the show you didn't like, and just like that, they
Oh.
made a joke about her using the word zinger. Did you get pissed about that? Because you used the word zinger too?
Oh
Did it
no,
make
you
you
know what's
hate
so
Shay?
funny is I totally didn't even make the connection to that. But I also didn't see
Kellie.
I didn't finish it.
Oh, well.
I
Okay,
didn't
well,
I
there you
watched the
go.
last episode because my sister was watching it, and I have zero interest, and it makes me very sad because I was an avid Sex and the City fan, and I even like tolerated that stupid movie when they went to Dubai, and I thought that was like ridiculous, but I just am so sad about this show. It just I just can't. I can't.
Okay, so move on to The Gilded Age.
Oh, I need to watch
With
that. I
Christine
haven't started
Baranski.
it.
Yeah. This lady who plays Mrs. Russell. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just so good. Cynthia Nixon's in that one too. But it's I like it. It got greenlit for season 2. And it's
Nice.
like more my speed. I feel like sometimes we're almost kind of like, if it's really popular, we should check it out. But like I keep hearing Euphoria, Euphoria, Euphoria. And I'm like, I am a grown up.
I'm
Although I did
honestly
watch Gossip
not
Girl.
interested in watching a bunch of like teenagers like show me what happens when they're all on drugs. Like I'm just like not. And that's a big part
Yeah,
of
I
the
feel like
show is
I'm a
like
grown up.
navigating through that. I think the way that they're doing it is really interesting and well written and all of it. It's just not. I'm just not interested in it.
It's just too much of it. It's Generation, I think it was called, was on there. Gossip Girl's on there. Euphoria's on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard they're bringing Degrassi to HBO too. So it's
What?
like at some point, like, can we get somebody who has a storyline that's over like 23? Like in
No.
HBO world, if you're over 23, you're Carrie Bradshaw. And you apparently can't think anymore.
You're either a teenager
Okay,
or an old lady reverting back to teenage ways. Like I don't know.
enough of TV. Was there anything else in that episode that just struck you that you was were very intrigued by? I liked it. I liked it overall. Like again, I snarled immediately. Like I was like, ugh, the strike rat. Like, how could you? But we know how they could. We know this is what they do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Billy and Julie do what they do. They did the wrong thing and still got nothing. They thought about doing the right thing, but didn't end up doing it. So it just kind of always turns that way. Arthur thought he needed to stop cooking so he wouldn't be resented by Julie for taking away her feminism. And, we find out that she's like, no, 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 no. Which I always love any little bits of Arthur that we get. She's like, and then he makes her chicken fingers and she's like, oh, these are all mine, right? She's just like so happy that at least life at home is back to normal and that she can always count on him.
The interaction with all of them is good. I like the way Lola, there's times where she has to tease them,
Yes.
and kind of pick on them. Yeah.
And one of the funniest lines too was like when Billy sees Matthew and he's like, "Oh, it's just too bad you weren't Jeffrey Dahmer's type."
And Billy Epstein has said stuff like that before. Like, I wish so and so was correct about. It's just like, yeah, like Bryan Singer. I mean, things that are not funny. This show was in 2015,
like,
2016,
wow.
2017. Like so early on, all of this stuff that like came to light in such a way.
I mean, the Elton
and they made
John
it funny.
and Eminem Cajun Pokeballs joke. I mean, there's so many little zingers in there.
Elton John and Eminem. Oh, and then they performed too.
Yeah.
That they did. Oh, and they also performed. Yeah.
Let's go get Cajun Pokeballs. Oh, that's Elton John's nickname for Eminem.
Yes. When that happened, I was not originally happy with that at all. I gave the side eye. Oh yeah, but I'm not an Eminem fan. I don't get it. I don't. In the box, the conversion therapy box of boring stuff, like Cargots and all these things, I think there should be like an Eminem CD because I'm just not getting it. I mean, I know he's supposed to be one of the greatest of all time type shit, but no.
I think if you listen to or even read the lyrics, maybe it will, the stories that he tells are interesting. The way that he talks about his life and his struggles, and he kind of uses the music to play out the anger, the grief, and all the things that he feels, and he makes up these like outrageous stories in these songs. And that's what I always found fascinated by, like, of how he wrote his music and the words that he put together and all these things, because it wasn't just about bullshit like going to get hoes. It was like actual like stories and things that happened in his life that you can hear him talk about if you pay attention to certain songs. Not that there weren't some of those cheesy songs mixed in there, but there were like some of those that you really like, you know, when you, that, you know, are, can be relatable in a very, very like to like the degree way. But I don't know.
So would you go see him in concert? Would you interview him? Like where do you stand with him? Like would you spend your time go like buying tickets and going to go see him perform? Like, is he that good of a talent for you?
When it comes to going to see performances, I'm kind of biased. Like, I don't really go see anybody because I used to go to concerts all the time with you know, with work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not really into big arena shows like at all. But I mean, if it was like a smaller like club show or something, like I would want to go see that. I do listen to his interviews and the way he like, you know, talks about certain things. I do find it interesting. Like when he, you know, talks about like rhyming words and how he does it, and, you know, just, I don't know, maybe look at it from a news perspective. Like if you're interviewing somebody, not that you have to be a fan of his music, but there is a certain artistry to it that's a little different than just making up, you know, some bullshit to talk about. Like, let's just go get some hoes and shoot some guns and whatever. It's a little bit more than that.
Why was the making fun part like having to be in sync? Like,
oh, he made fun of everybody.
What was that? He didn't make fun of everybody. He made fun of NSYNC.
Like, he didn't make fun of everybody. He made fun of Britney Spears, of Pink, of Christina Aguilera. He made fun of everybody.
What kind of Candyland bullshit is that? Why only make fun? Why didn't he ain't got no smoke for no one else? Like he
like,
he
made fun of everybody. Go back through it. He's made fun of everybody. He's made fun of everybody.
I think he did.
Go back and check.
God, I think you have not said one wrong thing on this podcast and they hear you blow it. You said something wrong.
I mean, he's made fun. Okay, I'll take that back. He hasn't made fun of everybody, but he's made
fun
of.
So he said something about like Suge Knight. Like, no, no, just kidding. He just say something about Britney Spears.
I mean, he made fun
like,
of Diddy.
Corny. I mean, but Diddy, I like Diddy. I don't talk bad about Diddy. I like Diddy, actually. I like Diddy. I do. I mean,
he's made fun of a lot of people, but also like, you know, he was really kitschy and all that stuff coming up to get played on the pop stations and like all that. It was all strategy stuff. So a lot of his early stuff is really silly. But if you listen to the words, he takes jabs at a lot of different people. And his whole beef with Mariah Carey, I think, is funny.
Oh my God! Why are you obsessed with Mariah?
Well, that was Mariah Carey's whole song. You remember that?
I do. Yeah, he would be in the box of stuff. His CD would be.
All I'm saying is that there's a little artistry to it. So just you know.
We'll refer back to this. You're giving him too much. You really are. but it's not like I'm right either, because there's plenty of people who are like.
I mean, it's all subjective, right?
No, it's not. I'm right, and other people are wrong. Kelly, don't you know what this show is about?
Fine.
Anything else with the episode? I guess I hate to end it. I think this has been really, really fun. I do want to remind everyone to go to ViridianRoad.com. Just check out. Of course, there's a ton of quote t-shirts there, but there's some art there. There's some mugs, tiles, just a ton of stuff, and they really support us. So we want to show that support back. And yes, I will not gripe anymore about Best Buy and my Shure MV7 microphone. I'm just, trying to do my job, and I'm trying my best, Kelly, and I don't want to let you down. That's all that is.
No,
any last words? Any last words? This was a lot of fun.
It was.
That's it?
This was a lot of great stuff. And if you're in Texas, stop by the Viridian Row Boutique. They have a new little boutique in Liberty Hill, which is in a suburb of Austin, Texas. So if you're in the area, stop by and see them. They're a sip and shop store. So go by, have a drink, and look around. I mean, what could be better than that?
Drink like tequila? I can have tequila?
I mean, you could have tequila, you could have wine. I mean,
oh, how fun. That reminds me. We haven't drank on an episode in some time. And I think
we need to do that.
we've done our Valentine's episode and Dorinda schooled us on all like the things. I think we need to let our hair down in about 2 episodes. Okay. Is that a deal?
St. Patty's Day coming up. So we got to drink something green.
It's too many holidays. It's like I'm taking a nap. Kellie, you were fantastic. I will talk to you on the next one. Okay. Bye.